Join us. My Media Prime, the African Eye.
Hello there, fervent viewers. Welcome to Prime News over My Media Prime TV. It is Thursday and you are welcome. We begin the news today in Yaoundé, Cameroon's political capital, where there have been panic and total confusion as Canadian company Magil abandons the uncompleted Olympia Sports Complex, citing bottlenecks in the execution of the project. Politicians and opinion leaders have called for investigations on allegations of corruption. At the Ministry of Sports, a proposal has been sent to the Prime Minister for local contractors to take over the project. Bo Elvis spoke with some ministers or officials at the Ministry of Sports and compiled the following reports.
Magil Construction Corporation has stopped construction works at the Olympia Sports Complex, although the project has not been completed. The company is requesting the payment of an additional 10% as well as other financial damages. Accused of corruption and embezzlement in the construction works, the government has fired back, claiming Magil was paid 42 billion francs CFA out of 250 billion francs CFA, the rest to be completed once the work is done.
The government, in order to start paying Magil again, wanted Magil first to justify the use of the amount that they have received from the government, and they also want Magil to relaunch the construction works at Olympia, particularly as far as the hotel is concerned, the mall, the gymnasium, the swimming pool, and other components. Unfortunately, Magil did not really comply and fulfill on these conditions. That is the reason why the Ministry of State, Secretary General of the Presidency, decided to stop the payment of Magil.
Opinion leaders, politicians, and social media influencers have used the occasion to criticize the government. But the government has promised to do everything possible for Magil to pay back part of the money received from the government or face legal charges.
Yes, the next steps is that, first of all, the Ministry of Sport is determined to continue the construction works at Olympia, being with Magil or without Magil. So I think that a certain number of proposals have been done to the presidency. And one of this proposal is that since we have local subcontractors who have the experience of this complex, we can work with these local subcontractors and looking for a director of projects, maybe an individual of a company, who can accompany them and them achieve, all the components.
Officials in charge believe public funds can be used to complete the project with experienced local contractors. Important to indicate here that Magil owes local contractors a whopping sum of 3 billion francs CFA.
Now, some inhabitants of the Rai Besenge neighborhood in the Douala 4 municipality littoral region of Cameroon may go homeless following the demolition of several homes at the said locality. The demolition exercise was carried out earlier today, Thursday, January 5, 2022, by officials of the Douala 4 Council. This activity was supervised by the First Assistant Senior Divisional Officer for Wuri Division, Chapanganang Emmanuel, who explained the purpose of the demolition exercise to My Media Prime TV, as we hear in the following excerpt.
Nous sommes là dans le cadre de la libération des emprises du rail. à l'intérieur desquelles se trouvent les emprises du paille. Et au sens de la loi, les emprises du rail sont de 35 mètres de part et d'autre du milieu du rail. Donc nous sommes venus sur le terrain aujourd'hui pour libérer ces emprises. Mais avant cela, la population a été sensibilisée. Plusieurs réunions ont été organisées par le préfet dans nos services et aussi sur le terrain avec les populations, les chefs du quartier. Bon, l'opération, comme vous le constatez vous-même, ce n'est pas sans heurts, sans incident. Ça veut dire que le message est passé. Ils ont accepté et ils ont compris l'importance du passage du pipe à cet endroit afin que les livraisons en carburant et en gaz domestique puissent se faire de manière fluide. Et concernant la limitation à 35 mètres qui crée un peu de polémique, vous-même vous l'avez constaté, nous nous assurons du respect strict de cette délimitation pour que certaines populations ne s'estiment pas traitées injustement. Donc les travaux vont se poursuivre jusqu'à la fin et nous remercions les populations de la vallée Bessengue, de la vallée Bessengue qui ont fait preuve de citoyenneté. Tout se passe dans l'apaisement et comme le chef de l'État a placé l'humain au centre de son projet social, des accompagnements ont été prévus pour ces populations. Et je crois que l'enveloppe est déjà disponible et ces populations seront désintéressées dans les prochains jours pour qu'elles puissent s'installer dans des endroits plus appropriés. Bon, nous avons environ 167. Nous avons environ 167 familles qui vont être déguerpies et elles ont répondu favorablement à notre appel. Du coup, nous pouvons être satisfaits du travail qui se passe sur le terrain. Et aussi, nous voulons féliciter les forces de maintien de l'ordre pour leur professionnalisme au cours de ces travaux. Je vous remercie.
Quand j'ai laissé l'autre en 6e mois, on vient ici, on dit qu'on va casser la maison à 112 heures. J'ai laissé, je pense qu'on ne peut plus casser. J'ai parti à l'école, j'ai dépensé tout, j'ai parti prêter l'argent pour aller payer l'école d'enfants. Voir comment l'autre jour, je viens, on dit qu'on m'a dit qu'on va casser là. J'ai dit qu'on casse comme ça là, j'ai donné l'argent du genre. Je vais faire comment pour que l'enfant apprenne. Si l'enfant échoue maintenant, je vais faire comment. Où je n'ai pas où habiter. Parce qu'on casse comme ça, là, je vais dormir seulement dehors. Parce que je n'ai pas même l'argent pour aller lever une jambe seulement. Je n'ai pas vu comme ça, quand tu me vois là.
One of the victims of that demolition exercise there explaining the effects on her and her household. On to something else, the year 2023 kick-started with the implementation of some state laws that were adopted at the fall of 2022. One of such is the price increment on the price increment on physical stamps from 1,000 francs to 1,500 francs as from January 2023. Earlier today, our very own Nolinga visited some administrative units in Douala, Cameroon's economic capital city. She spoke with some persons on how these changes are affecting them. Files in the following report.
It's official. Fiscal stamps no longer cost 1,000 francs as of the previous years in Cameroon. This is 2023, and there's been a price augmentation of 500 francs CFA on the stamps which are used for the authentication of official documents. And this is how Cameroonians have responded to the new changes. The prices of most goods and services have skyrocketed, even in terms of foodstuff. So we just have to take it the way it has come. We have no choice. We just need to go along with the government. On my part, I think this decision has not properly been thought of because people are first of all going through a lot and we are not supposed to be put in a position to raise money for the state, as another alternative would have been better. The fact that stamps now cost 1,500 francs is no longer funny, so the state must rethink another solution to this. But in understanding how these changes have fully been integrated into the society, we now talk with a fiscal stamp dealer who, for security reasons, would not disclose his name. We are told, on a serious note, this price augmentation will go a long way to affect the daily lives of many citizens. As one who processes documents, I won't lie that 1,500 francs is not easy for many Cameroonians to have. Here at the Douala 5 police station, documents are stamped on a recto verso format and most parents are in difficulties. Stamp prices have been increased, yet salaries are not. Nonetheless, moving over to the Douala 5 Municipal Council, another hub where these stamps are sold, we are told at the moment there are no stamps available, but the new 1,500 francs price tag is confirmed. However, to some Christian faithfuls, as Madame Chantal, a shopkeeper here in the nation's economic capital, the price hikes are only here to affirm the biblical forecast of the end-time manifestations.
As a believer, I know that something is going to happen. Jesus is coming back soon.
Meantime, it should be borne in mind that this change is not the only one in the new finance law, as the transfer duty of the land title in case of sale has also been increased to 4% and the property certificate to 25,000 francs, while the judicial pre-notation is now at 250,000 francs CFA, and then the import tax on rice is increased from 5% to 10% amongst other goods and services, an indication it's time to brace up.
Now over to the southwest region, where the mayor of Mamfe Council has donated food items, didactic materials and toiletries worth over 1.5 million francs CFA to inmates at the Mamfe Central Prison. Mayor Robertson Tabenchong Ashu says the gifts are his own way to celebrate the New Year 2023 with the prisoners at that prison. Get details in this report with Joy Ngong.
Food items, buckets, working tools and didactic materials worth 1.5 million francs CFA are the items the mayor of the Mamfe Council donated to the inmates of the Mamfe Central Prison. Accompanied by the Deputy State Council and the First Deputy Mayor, Mayor Robertson Tabenchong Ashu says the aim of his visit is to share with the inmates on New Year's Day.
I know that there are many of you here that you are innocent. However, what has brought you here, the good Lord will see you people through. I've come to give you people courage, to tell you that distance can never be a barrier between us. And that's why I know, who knows tomorrow? Maybe tomorrow I will be here like you people and you will be out there to feed me. Don't say no. God forbid. God forbid, yes. But nothing is impossible. Just to give you the confidence. Please, my brothers, please.
Receiving the items, the inmates expressed joy and pleaded with other well-wishers to emulate the gesture of the mayor. Some inmates seized the opportunity to enumerate their plight, including lack of potable water, electricity, lack of toilets, drugs, didactic materials, among others.
20 years one day, when I have someone on the tomorrow, maybe 20 years, and from my situation, they gave me 25 days in prison. First degree 2004, come out, touch me. They don't, I'll never pass. Degree of 2020, stay for coronavirus thing. They say, the first company say, don't touch me 5 years. I'm going to get they say, not 3 years. So I still being shocked, but not get no more if you follow me up behind thing.
In response, the mayor encouraged the inmates and promised other developmental projects in the likes of solar panels, a borehole, supply of medications, VIP toilets, and didactic materials to the tune of 250,000 francs CFA. The prison superintendent, on his part, did not hesitate to thank the mayor.
This is the youngest mayor in the continent of Africa. We are done in January now. So, Mayor, if in February you can still come, we shall be very grateful. Thank you very much. Thank you.
With joy, the inmates danced as a sign of appreciation.
Under something else, over 148 recruits have acquired skills in citizenship, rescue, and disaster prevention after 45 days of training. The newly recruited soldiers are expected to go back and put into practice what they learned in school. Catherine Ekongwe tells us more.
After 45 days of training at the Kribi National Firefighting Brigade, these 148 new recruits have acquired skills in citizenship, rescue, and disaster prevention. While presiding over the graduation ceremony that took place at the Kribi Training Center, Colonel Petatwa Edgar challenged them to indiscriminately serve their country wherever they are posted.
155 soldats, n'est-ce pas, du contingent 2022.
Effectively, out of 155 young fire soldiers who went in for the training, 148 were able to make it, and 7 were not in the list. But we are asking them to keep working so that their names will come up in the next list. They have completed their studies. Now is the time for them to go to the field to put in practice what they learned during the 45 days of training.
Mettre en pratique les connaissances, n'est-ce pas, acquis ici au bout de 45 jours.
The young fire soldiers equipped with skills to prevent and rescue disasters are determined to overcome every odd to serve their fatherland.
Efficiency, discretion. I don't want to know your philosophy or your religion or your political tendency, whether you are young or old, rich or poor, Cameroonian or foreigner. If I permit myself to ask your problem, it is not by indiscretion, but to better help you. When you call me, I run, but make sure you alert me through the most rapid and sure ways. Waiting minutes will look long and very long when you are in distress. Pardon my apparent lateness.
The graduation ceremony was crowned with march past that took place in the presence of military officials, family members, friends, and well-wishers.
Today marks 5 years since the arrest of Nsungkikang Ayoktabe and co. at the Nera Hotel in Abuja, Nigeria, followed by their extradition to Cameroon to stand trial for high treason, among other crimes. The famous Nera 10 were picked up by Nigerian security forces this day, January 5, in 2018. Julian Dambi completes that story.
On Friday, January 5th, 2018, at exactly 7 p.m., the Nigerian intelligence agencies stormed the Nera Hotel in Abuja, Nigeria, and apprehended Nsungkikang Ayoktabe, the first self-proclaimed president of the virtual Republic of Ambazonia, which make up the English-speaking regions of Cameroon, that is the Northwest and Southwest regions. Also, Nsungkikang Ayoktabe was arrested on this day, January 5th, in 2018, alongside 8 members of the supposed interim government of Ambazonia. They included Dr. Mfor Ngala Mfor, Dr. Fidelis Nde Chie, Dr. Henry Kimem, Professor Awasum, Dr. Cornelius Kwanga, Tasang Wilfred, and Barrister Nalova B. According to reports, the leaders had gathered at the hotel to discuss humanitarian concerns of Anglophone refugees in Nigeria. Furthermore, after spending 3 weeks in Nigerian custody, Nsungkikang Ayoktabe and 46 others were extradited from Nigeria to Cameroon on Monday 28, 2018. A year later, Sisiku and the 9 other leaders, popularly called the Naira 10, were sentenced to life imprisonment after being found guilty of rebellion, complicity in terrorism, financing terrorism, revolution, insurrection, hostility against the state, propagation of fake news, and lack of identification. The court also ordered they pay 250 billion FCFA francs to Cameroon as damages and 125 billion to the civil party. It should be noted that the crisis, now termed the Anglophone crisis, stemmed from, amongst other issues, marginalization. As for years, Anglophone Cameroonians say they have been marginalized by the Yaoundé regime and the country's majority French-speaking population. The agitation for secession thus heightened in October 2017 when the Ambazonia leaders declared an autonomy over the 2 Anglophone regions, but was highly rejected by the government, resulting in violent clashes between pro-separatist fighters and government forces. While many think for the war to come to an end, the political prisoners be released, 5 years on, they remain locked up and the Cameroon Anglophone regions continue to witness violent unrest.
Julian Dambi reporting there. On to health news. Cameroon will soon integrate COVID-19 vaccination into the national immunization program this year, as revealed by the Secretary of the expanded program, Dr. Shalom Dula, targeting all persons at risk. Details right ahead.
Dr. Shalom Chokfe Dula, Permanent Secretary of the Expanded Program on Immunization EPI, has revealed that the integration of COVID-19 vaccination into routine immunization targeting people at risk goes operational this 2023. According to data from PEV, over 2 million Cameroonians were vaccinated during the last round of the campaign organized last November, a record for the country since the launch of the vaccination on April 12, 2021. Dr. Shalom Dula adds that it is thanks to the campaign that Cameroon moved away from the countries that had vaccine coverage of less than 10%. It was also revealed that thanks to the COVID-19 campaign, Cameroon has already covered more than 80% of health workers, and those left are the elderly and people living with comorbidities, that is, people living with 2 or more diseases. Recall here that on December 14, 2022, the World Health Organization congratulated Cameroon on the success of the health campaign, while lauding the priority given to those at risk and vulnerable groups. According to health experts in the country, if the vaccination coverage is on the rise, the spread of COVID-19 remains on the low. Reason why health authorities are multiplying campaigns to vaccinate a huge number of people. Note that the Minister of Public Health, Manawoda Malashi, on December 30th, prescribed the reinforcement of vaccination against COVID-19 in hospitals and vaccination centers in order to avoid the end-of-year celebrations being risk factors for the resurgence of cases, particularly through the importation of new variants of the disease. Thus, this 2023, those at risk will be vaccinated against COVID-19 as soon as the vaccine is included in the expanded program on immunization, targeting diseases like tuberculosis, poliomyelitis, tetanus, pneumonia, measles, yellow fever, among others.
On to this other health story. Every January, health experts, organizations, and personnel seek to raise awareness about birth defects, a new natal health condition, taking into account its risk factors, signs, triggers, and management. Bokengo Oworthy Kemia tells us more in the following report.
Also called congenital anomaly, birth defects are inherited medical disorder or structural physical changes that occur during fetal development in the womb, especially during the first 3 months of pregnancy. Around the world, approximately 8 million babies are born with a type of birth defect, taking the lives of about 240,000 within 28 days, and an estimated 170,000 deaths more for children between the ages of 1 to 5 years old born from hazards caused by birth defects. Being a neonatal health condition that is becoming a larger proportion of neonatal deaths, as stated by the World Health Organization, the health condition bears risk factors such as family history, poor diet, low folic acid intake, chromosome abnormalities, infections during pregnancy, pre-existing health conditions like diabetes which can damage blood vessels and kidneys, side effects of certain medications, exposure to environmental and chemical toxins, smoking, drug and alcohol abuse during pregnancy, age, and many more. Bearing many different types such as spina bifida, hearing loss, congenital heart defects, clubfoot, clipped and lip palate, amongst others, pregnant women and those planning to get pregnant can help prevent and reduce prevalence of birth defect by means of managing blood sugar level, take at least 400 micrograms of folic acid daily, avoid exposure to chemicals, get vaccinated against infectious diseases, eat healthy balanced diet, maintain healthy weight, quit alcohol and refrain from smoking, as well as making antenatal care visits a priority as recommended by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention.
Now onto our sports series. The clock is ticking to the 2022 African Nations Championship, which kickstarts in the days ahead in Algeria. Today, we focus on host nation Algeria, giving you the history of their participation in the continental tournament for local players. Magdala Ayong-Bisong tells us more.
Algeria's Team B national team will be making its second participation at the 7th edition of the African Nations Championship to run from January 13 to February 4, 2023. After their participation during the second edition of the biannual Association Football Tournament organized by the Confederation of African Football, featuring players currently playing in their respective local leagues, Algeria's team automatically booked a ticket as host nation to battle with 17 other nations from Africa for the trophy. Algeria were officially named as host of the 2022 edition on the 29th of September 2018 at an executive meeting held on the September 10, 2020 in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt. This edition of the tournament were confirmed by the Algerian Football Federation August 1st, 2020 to be held in 4 venues at 4 cities across host nation Algeria, which includes Algiers, Oran, Constantine, and Annaba. It should be noted that the Algerian Team B national squad bears the same name as a national team, which is the Desert Foxes, but the difference there is that the CHAN is reserved only for local players. And so the CHAN representative is a team next to the national squad reserved for players playing their trade in the local clubs of the country. Since 2008, the Algerian squad has gone through 7 official tacticians: Mustafa in 2008, Abdel Haq in 2011, Ali Fegani 2012, Lucas Alcaraz 2017, Rabah Majed 2018, Ludovic Batelli 2019. A new head coach and the former Algerian centre-back will guide the team during the CHAN 2022 on home soil. There has been a slight change in this year's event. Instead of 16 teams, Algeria will host 18, the first of its kind. The 18 teams have been drawn in 5 pools. Pool A, B, C all have 4 teams each, while Pool D and E have 3 each. The Greens are in Pool A alongside 2014 winners Libya, Ethiopia, and Mozambique. Host country Algeria will face 2014 winners Libya in a North African derby on the 13th of January 2022, which is the opening ceremony of the competition at the Algerian capital city, Algiers.
Thank you much, Magdala Ayong-Bisong, for that sports report. That concludes today's edition of Prime News over My Media Prime TV. The news was produced by Ewane and Nolinga. I have been Eileen for a presentation. Coordination came in from Alasha Kingsley. Thank you very much for viewing. Up next is Prime Hour with Kum Leonard and his panelists. Until tomorrow, stay blessed.